Well, after Virginia Tech, we got a little more serious about thinking. The first Virginia Tech, I'm talking about. A little more serious about thinking about how we notify the campus in regards to any kind of emergency. We started to think about things like tornadoes, train derailments, where you might have some hazardous chemicals, gunmen on campus, snowstorms, those sort of things. It's very difficult to get word out to approximately any given day 6,000 to 7,000 people on campus. Some of them are outside, some of them are sleeping, some of them are in classes. So it's difficult to try to get the word out to everybody. And the only way to do that, what we determined, was that you had to do it in lots of different ways. There's no one way to get the word out. So we developed a system of notifications. The first one is that we have an outdoor siren system that we purchased and put in place so that all the campus is within earshot of the siren system. If you're outside, sitting on the grass, walking on a sidewalk or whatever, you hear the siren system, and it actually has voice commands with it. So there's a series of messages that the sirens will say, in addition to going off as the siren does. There'll be a series of messages that might say tornado warning, seek shelter now, evacuation warning, follow the instructions of the emergency officials, hazardous materials warning, the terrorist warning, which might have to do with a gunman on campus. Just a series of pre-recorded messages that will be played over and over and over again. So that's the outdoor siren system. We also have the e-alert text message system, and any student, faculty, and staff who signed up for the e-alert can get text messages that the university will send out. And I think we have pretty good adoption of that among people that have cell phones. So that's the way to get things out. They'll be in all campus email. In addition to the Smith-Jackson, all students' email, there'll also be all the faculty staff too. So everybody will get an email. The Elon website has the ability to put a red banner across the top of every page on the site. It's an emergency banner that we will put online. So on eNet and every other page on the site, you'll see a bright red banner across the top. There's a system in place where the campus telephone system, which has IP telephones, and they have little speakers on them. And the campus system can take over those speakers and broadcast warnings through the speaker on those telephones. So all the secretaries in the buildings, all the people who have those types of telephones, there can be a message coming through that telephone. There's also the ability for us to broadcast over WSOE radio and the campus closer television system. So if the event goes on for some time, we have the ability to take over those systems and use those to get the word out. And finally, we have some telephone hotlines where you can put pre-recorded messages, which might be more important for parents and off-campus people. They could call into these numbers and get pre-recorded sort of messages. We do use those probably more so for things like weather delays, 278 rain and 278 snow, where people can call and find out if classes are delayed or whatever if they don't have access to some of the other systems. So it's kind of a multi-layered system, and it's hopefully we would maybe not get to every single person, but you get to enough people that then word of mouth would share it around. So, gee, I didn't hear about that, but somebody else got a text message, or somebody else heard the siren, or somebody else got the email, or somebody else saw eNet on the website. But the final thing would be that people would share the information among themselves.
How prepared do you think the campus is now as it has been in the past? I know that covers a little bit of what you just said, but Just how do you think that the campus has dealt with such emergencies?
Well, I think we gave it a lot of more significant thought after the first Virginia Tech incident. And we've had some tests to do dry runs. So I think we're way more prepared than we were before the first Virginia Tech. And I think that every time we do a test, we find things that didn't work quite as well as we would have liked to. So I think we get a little bit better prepared every time. But the other big challenge with a college campus is that every year, about a fourth of the people here are brand new. They're freshmen, and they don't know the system. So you've got to get them to understand how they're going to get the information. And so it's always a challenge. You can't ever just say, okay, now that problem is taken care of, because every year you've got the education process you've got to go through to help people understand how they're going to get information.
How many times do you test, how regularly do you test the system?
It's usually tested once a year, usually in the fall. We just did it this fall in connection with the college coffee. The other challenge I think that we've had is that many people won't sign up for the e-alert system to get the text messages. The text messages is probably one of the most effective ways to get the words out quickly. And but it does require that with your cell phone contract, you got to go and sign up for it, and we've got to try to keep getting the word out that this is the thing you should do. You should get that. I'm curious, are all you guys signed up for that? Not everybody. Okay, so if you aren't, that's a pretty important thing to do. And it's a good thing for the media to get the word out about how to do that. There's a website on Elon's webpage on Elon's website called Emergency. It's emergency.elon.edu, and that has all the links for how to sign up for e-alert and how to all these other systems. There's all sorts of emergency information. There's what will the campus do to evacuate? What's the plan for that? So if you go, and there's also on any page on the Elon website, down the footer, down at the very bottom, there's a link to this emergency website too. So if you want to get a lot more information for your story about that, a lot of this stuff is right there on that page.
Do you have an idea of how many students are signed up for their e-alert system?
I don't. I could guess, but I just don't know.
Would someone know that?
Yeah, Scott Hildebrand, who works in information technology, his office is in the library, I think. He's in charge of that e-alert system, so he would have the best idea what the adoption rate is. Last I heard, I think it was somewhere over 50%.